Hey everybody, welcome back to the forge. Hope everybody's doing well. Haven't put up a video in a while, but we've been working on that Damascus knife, and the final part of it, we left off in that last video. We had the scales put on, the bolsters, the aluminum, all the handle was done, was assembled and on the knife and pinned. And we had started shaping it and sanding it, and so I didn't make a video about finishing the rest of it, just kind of worked on it in the evenings during the week when I got home from work, and worked on it what I could this weekend. And I mean, it was just more hand sanding and lots of polishing and rubbing, and you know, it wasn't. We've seen enough of that, I think. You know how that goes, but we have the finished product here, and there she is. She's sharp as a razor, and looking pretty good, I believe. We got those bolsters and pommel pieces all polished up to a nice mirror shine. Scott didn't want poly on the handle, so we didn't put any poly on the handle. We sanded it really smooth and waxed it. There's 7 or 8 coats of wax, you know, hand rubbed on there. So I think it came out really nice. Scott's excited about it. He's really going to enjoy it. It's a beautiful knife. I knew it was going to be a beautiful knife, but I also knew it was going to take a lot of work, and it did. I've been screwing around with this knife for quite some time now. Well, we had to wait on handle scales, and it was quite a process. We started with 12 layers of 1080 and 15N20, and we hammered that. Forge welded that into a billet by hand with a hammer, then drew it out, and then put 6 full twists in that billet. Remember, we drew it out about that far. If you watched the previous video, probably 8-9 inches, and then we twisted it 6 full twists in the vise, and then we went ahead and forged our blade out of it. These pieces of aluminum, if you remember from the previous video, were just big chunks, big square pieces of aluminum alloy cut out of a truck wheel, and it was quite the adventure getting those all shaped up and even as possible. You know, if you really look at it closely, you can see little spots where it's a little bit off, but I believe we got it pretty close. So this handle alone has 20 pieces involved in it. I mean, we've got, if you minus the pins, we've got 12 pieces to this handle assembly. And when you add the 3 pins here, the 3 pins here, and these 2 pins, we've got 3 in the bolsters, 3 in the pommel pieces, and then these 2 in the scales. There's 8 pins in here, so when you count the pins and all the handle pieces, there's 20 pieces to this handle. So I had to make some micarta for it. So we've got full micarta scale liners that run the full length of the tang. Then we have these micarta inserts that I put between the wood and the aluminum on both sides. There's 4 of those, plus the 2 full scale liners, so that's 6 pieces. The 4 pieces aluminum makes 10, and the handle scales make 12 pieces to that handle, and then when you add the 8 pins in, you're looking at 20 pieces, 20 separate components that made up the handle on this twisted Damascus knife. But I think it came out beautiful. Scott just loves it, and I do too. But it's promised to someone else, so I have to let it go. But I can make another one. I could make this one. I guess I can make another one, right? So beautiful knife, and glad to have it finished so I can get started on mine. I'm going to make myself kind of a bike themed knife, and we'll get started on that. Maybe tomorrow. It's not looking like I'm working tomorrow. This is Monday now, with the Easter weekend and everything. Had quite a few irons in the fire this weekend to coin an old, to quote an old blacksmith coined phrase, irons in the fire. So we didn't get it quite. I mean, I basically had it done yesterday, but I went to a big family dinner and everything, and spent time with the family and the kids and the grandkids and everything, so we didn't get this finished up today, or yesterday. So the last video, number 9, I believe, in the Twisted Damascus series, but there she is. That handle just came out gorgeous. The blade, the pattern in the blade is beautiful. The steel hardened up real nice after the 3rd try. If you remember, if you watched the previous videos on this, you know I kind of had a little bit of a struggle hardening that blade up, but she got good and hard. It's very sharp. I'm going to order some whetstones, a set of whetstones that I can really put a fine edge. But this knife is sharp enough to hurt you if you slip. So believe me, you can cut yourself to the bone with this thing. So yeah, so we got that one in the books finally, and we're fixing to start on another one. Probably be a little bigger than this one. You lose quite a bit of steel when you're doing the Damascus thing, so the next one will be a little bigger than this, but very happy with this knife and the way it came out, and the pattern in the blade, the handle. Couldn't ask for it to work out any better. So it came out really well. A lot of work, a buttload of work. I mean, a ton of work went into this knife. But, you know, when you have a finished product and it's solid as a rock, feels really good in the hand. Those scales were a little blocky when I first started working on them, so you can see I took and contoured the scales a little better. And we contoured this up here where the bolsters are, and back here where the pommel pieces are. We kind of rounded them out in there a little bit, so your hand just fits in there like, I mean, man, that knife feels really good. This is probably the best feeling knife in your hand that I've made, I think. So very nice. Happy for Scott. He's got his knife. We can get on with other things. So I'm not going to say bigger and better, because it's going to be a while before I top this one. I don't know if I want to go through all that with that aluminum again. I mean, it's beautiful when it's done, and it's a good solid knife, but it was just a ton of work with the tools that I have in my shop anyway. So thanks for joining me. Hey buddy, my big cat's up here wanting to get in on the action. Yeah, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for joining me. We finally made it to the finish line on this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you liked the knife. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. I think it's a beautiful knife, and it's going to work very well for Scott, and he'll have this for years and years and pass it down. You know, that's the cool thing about making something like this. This knife will still be around in 100 years when Scott and I are both long gone. So love it. Thanks for being here. Get out to your shop and make a mess, or clean it up, or tinker with something, and let some of your worries roll off of your back. That's what I like about doing it. I mean, I just like doing it, but it also just takes you away from all your problems, you know, and gives you that time to just focus on what you're doing and let your worries and cares kind of slip away. So yeah, get out to the shop and do something. Just have some fun. And thanks for coming along on the ride on this, and let's get started on the next one. So appreciate y'all watching. If it wasn't for you, I'd have no reason to make these videos. So Thanks again for being here and for joining me in the shop today. Appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one.